In the heart of Kenya's captivating and breathtaking Kerio Valley, a complex, deeply rooted and age-old struggle unfolds, shadowing the lives of its people. Today, we journey into the heart of this beautiful land to unearth the causes of banditry and bring to light the profound impact it has on the community, as well as unveil the potential for transformation. But what drives men to become bandits?
The men usually keep quiet, but the women, when they take the microphone, what they talk can make everyone take a gun. You know, women are even worse inside us, because they will ask you, Kumbe, this area we didn't give birth to sons because we are dying, our children are dying, and yet we have all of you here. You know, men leave the meeting going to arm themselves because the wife has said, or the mother has said, and now we don't have men. Can you give us these guns? We go ourselves.
Si kuona mkichana wangu kwa macho yangu wakati walipigwa risasi, si kuona kwa macho. Nilikuta tu malo walipikia, waliburuza, ndio ile wamekata maji, ndio ile ameenda pande wa Pokot na kwenda mpaka nikaenda mahali wamechomea. Alafu nikatoka hapo sasa nikakuja tu nakuja Mungu na mguu, nikarudi kuomba ng'ombe, nikapata tena ng'ombe 15. Kwa hii wiki ile ile tulikwisha Pokot wakuja chukua yote hiyo 15 hiyo.
Ngate to kanisiwa ni bidango Marakwet yesele kimiti ando nyonya. Kitiri ya wejin na samma ga barchi kinin ne ga kira. Kumun joni hartan jawacha. Kangate bamma da ko nya ga wer kinin ya bichi ngama. Kuriji makaram katani agum ga yen karam ya no ya bichi ngama. Anyo ba do ya. Kurinya ni tele ya karat. Ni orang din bawar ga bichi ngama. Agini ga bangala di bubu kwa. Ni ngala ni ya ta to basana gilmi ya karam bawar basana.
What sparks the cycle of violence that stains these fertile lands? And is there hope of a possibility of transformation from a bandit to a reformed herder?
We started seeing each other as brothers and sisters, and indeed we are brothers and sisters because there is high intermarriage between Pokots and Marakwet community. For example, my father-in-law, his mother is a Pokot. My father-in-law was married to 3 wives. Only one was a Marakwet, the rest are Pokots. So there is a lot, and not only that one, but we intermarry quite a lot.
But I began first initiatives by coming to Kolo, coming to Tiatich, and taking students to that. And the reason was to bring these communities into one cohesion, and maybe to have the bandits not kill people. But for sometimes it helped us, but still the bandits were still on our people and killed so many people. I remember a very horrifying situation that even forced me to get out of teaching was when they killed a student I was teaching, my head boy, who was supposed to join Kenyatta University, and he was killed around Kapkopil. Actually, I went into serious trauma, and in fact, I cast code why I was not a teacher, to teach somebody until he qualifies to go to the university in a day school. I taught. I cast code, but I have since sought forgiveness from God.
Because mind you, God also listens to the elders of the land, and so I asked them, how can I manage to be your servant? Because I came with the point of their servant leader, the person who can be sent, and not the person ruling over them. Otherwise, they wouldn't have accepted that a woman is their ruler. But I was their servant, where whatever they raise, I'll take it to the position where resources are shared, and I come back with that analogy that a mother never comes home empty-handed to her children in the evening.
In terms of the areas that they are hurting in their lives, because if you begin with that, you give hope. And number 2, they have needs. in terms of educating their children, food, and also the issue of empowerment. They need to be empowered. So if we begin there and help them, I think that will help them to move to another level. And number two, which actually was supposed to be number one, the issue of insecurity has to be addressed. It has to be addressed because we have done quite a number of things to help these people. But whenever war breaks, we go back to zero.
Men here weren't born bandits. Their own call them community warriors. They are celebrated as protectors of family and community assets. Many times, they are regarded by most as bandits, but to their own, they are just herders.
Others are not bad people. It is the environment that has made them who they are. And from what they told us is that they are willing to leave the banditry. But what is there? What other source of income are they going to have? And as maybe the government or the church, when we go back, let's go and think of how we are going to help these others to have another way of life. And from what they told us is they will change if they are shown the way. And what is the way? What are we going to show? Which way are we going to show these people? If they can farm, if agriculture can be, that place is fertile. If we went to the soil, it's very fertile. The only thing that they are lacking is the resources. And their request was water. So if you can find partners to drill water for them and teach them agriculture farming ways, they can grow watermelon, they can grow these short-term cash crops. And if they find, from what they told us, if they can find another source of living, they'll leave banditry.
But they are men with aspirations, brothers with siblings and loved ones, fathers with children and ambitions. Circumstances have led them down that path. Poverty, lack of opportunities, lack of exposure, nagging cultural demands, and a sense of desperation has pushed them to make choices they are now no longer proud of.
Hiyo cycle isiwe inakuja kwa sababu mimi najua culture ndio ina play a lot of role kwa hii maneno. Culture ndio ina play, lakini mtu akichukuliwa kwingine na afunguliwa hata biashara ataanza kusahau wale wengine hawatakuwa na nia ya kueneza hizi. Kwa sababu hii imekaa miaka na miaka na ni wizi tu. Ni wizi tu, anakuja wakati watu wanaenda kuiba, wakikutana na mwenye hiyo mali wanaua. Na wanaua because they believe ukiua wewe ni ndume. Wewe ndio sucha, wewe ni morani, na mtu amechukua mali na ameua. Hasa akiua head of the household, head of a family ambaye ni Feratina. So the other family inakuwa affected so much hata kuliko yule amekufa.
Sasa pili ile kitu tumeonelea na tuombe Mungu. Kama nyinyi ni wasamaria mwema, muone hii watu wote wenye wamepatwa na shida, at least mulipie bidii yao. Na tumtegemee Mungu tu. Walipie bidii sababu hii shida ya hii uchumi ni mbaya. Shida ya kifo ikikuja inakukusa tu. Uchumi mbaya, shule hakuna mtu amewahi hata kuchenga nyumba. Inaletanga tu shida. Kama nyinyi wasamaria wema, msaidie hii watu. Wamtegemee Mungu tu, atusemi tulipie hata ile kitu unasema revenge.
And today if we do not have a forum where our young people are actually guided well and parented well, they will always get what they have been told. Now, as a religious leader today and as the division even of Outreach Bible Ministries, we have had programs even in our church which has actually touched the entire county and even other areas of this nation to go through our Abraham's ministry. We have a ministry in the church that addresses young people, a ministry to our young people during for initiation. You remember this is the gateway to adulthood in our community, that young men through circumcision, they actually initiated to adulthood. Now, and remember the information, because initiation is not only about the cut. Initiation is about training young men to be resilient, training young men to be husbands, training young men to be warriors, training young men to defend their families, to defend their society. And because circumcision was the only school in the past, because there were no classrooms, there were no standard one, there was no nursery schools. That was the only school where men learned to be men. And now that because we have had an alternative, and that is through the school, some of the things that our young people were learning during initiation, they are now taken through in school. That is why, as a church, we have come up with the ministry of, we call it Abraham's ministry. This is where young men are trained to be men. They are trained to be responsible citizens, to be responsible Christians, people who can carry forth their faith, and their faith should not be wavered.
When the church comes and really deals with what is making people of Elgeyo Marakwet cry, spend sleepless nights, when the church starts focusing on what really matters, it's a platform for people to actually see, actually this Jesus that you have been talking about, he actually cares about me. He cares about my son going to school so that he will not join the other people who are causing the trouble.
They have not been told by anybody an alternative. They have not been met with love. They are condemned most of the times, you know. And as I have shared, and you are aware that we have shared this, if a cactus only knows the desert, it has to just create ways of adapting. That is why you find cactus can only prick, because they only grow where there is desert. If a place there is no school, there are no roads, there are no infrastructure, how else do you expect those people to behave? The private sector is not there, you know. The public benefit organizations are not there. Nobody is speaking the language of the heart that transforms the mind of these people to be able to appreciate anything good that is brought to them. Because nobody is willing to do the hard work. Nobody is willing to walk the hard journey of repeating the same thing until transformation is acquired.
A feeling of helplessness and incitement is their constant companion. They are used to pain. They are numbed by pain.
Kwa hii maneno yote ni usuto. Kwenda kupotesha mtu ile mlikuwa mnafanya kazi alafu ikienda ni ngumu. Kupotesha mali, kupotesha nini. So kwa sasa kama mmekuja kama nyinyi, tuone angalau kuna mashida. Hata wakati viti yako imeenda, ukiomba uje pesa atuniveni uokoe mtoto, hakuna. Uende uje, hakuna. Ndio hiyo kiti bado iko roho. Na kama mmekuja, tuone angalau vile utasaidia hawa na mrudi tena tuongelea alafu hii kiti inaendanga polepole ki. Hata nikirudi hata nitafute uje, hakuna kiti nitapata. Heri tuongee kiti ende kwa roho, tukae na Mungu na tutafanya Mungu ataona watu.
No gun will ever be heard in that valley because of this initiative that touches the people directly, where you talk to communities, you don't harass them, it's only to speak to them to ensure that they get to know God, and also they get to know that there is no value in killing each other. There is a lot of other better things outside there that can be able to help our community.
What we have, look at what I'm dreaming Vic, psychological disarmament. When they are disarmed psychologically, the mind is disarmed, it doesn't matter the person coming. Already we shall have penetrated. It's a breakthrough, so long as we have disarmed them psychologically. Disarming the mind, anybody can do it. Even you can even come and talk to them and they will accept, because for this takes process.
For too long, communities in Kerio Valley have grappled with economic hardships and limited access to basic necessities.
I have met so many orphans. I have them in church, and it's a big challenge, because an area that has no peace, there will be no development. People cannot farm. People cannot do their business. And many families, they are needy. not because they chose to, not because they are poor, but because the environment is not favorable for any meaningful business or farming.
Illiteracy is in some cases as high as 90%. This leads to lack of opportunities. Many find themselves caught in the grip of economic hardship and struggling for the most basic of necessities.
We started a lesson. We started every Friday lesson on that particular topic of personal, health and social education, so that we would help the community and help them not to go back to the pain they went through. Also, I went through as a person a class called Learning to Live Together class. LTLT class was an exercise by the UNESCO Kenya. And having that knowledge, I had to come back to our people here, to this school, because it is the bed of all these problems that we have in the valley. I believe when we have some friends to support, maybe we will go a great distance ahead in terms of social health and psychological health.
If these guys can be encouraged to go to school, and I know if we can have schools where they can find food, all of them will go to school. And the government now enforce those guys who still want to use the children to look after the house, to enforce them to school. That will be the end of the story. In the next 10 years, we shall not have a problem. Because this thing has been perennial, but we need to tackle it that way. 60 years after independence is too long time. To have people 85%, you know, it's primitive for our country to have a community having that. Of course, we are also blaming the entire leadership, even the leadership of the region. But what about the government itself? You know, so that is a situation. But I know, I have faith that we shall have, our people agree and have peace.
It's time to address the root causes. No wonder there is a rallying call through love embraced to come together as a people to enable the communities tackle decades of poverty, create opportunities, and uplift them out of poverty and disempowering cultural practices.
There are very many areas of intervention. Of course, literacy levels, innovation around improving access to education and also sustaining it. The other bit, of course, is the climatic conditions. We have seen that at the end of the day, the aspect of pasture, having green lands on this side and not necessarily the case on this other side, creates a conflict. And so there has to be innovations around how we continue to improve on our cover, but also while doing so, introducing those opportunities for economic value. You know, people have to improve their livelihoods in terms of making sure that they're empowered, because eventually in the long run, families should be able to take their children to school comfortably, and should be able to meet their own needs through other interventions.
This will indeed transform the valley from the valley of death to the valley of life.
We have an opportunity to even come in a greater and even a bigger way. If you are a psychologist out there, you're welcome. If you are a philanthropist out there, you are welcome. If you are a scholar out there, please come. This place not only is a platform to transform them, but it is also a platform to transform you. If you are a young man who is not even sure of where his calling is, you are welcome. Just come and be part of this conversation. We are not asking you for anything, just come. Everybody can have ability to show love. That's all we are saying. The way God has enabled you, if you are a company, you have CSR budgets. You know, buy a few trees. Let us buy a few fruit trees. Let us give to these widows so that we can start intentional empowerment programs. If you're a big player and you are able even to buy generators for them, now the herders, those who from Nairobi we call bandits, are ready to farm. They are ready to keep their guns down. They are ready to go and make the guns permanently silent. And as we agreed with them, and I think now, we want to move from guns being silent to making the guns totally irrelevant.
But the real catalyst for change is dialogue. Communities are coming together, seeking common ground, and working towards lasting peace.
Our first meeting was in Tilingwo, this other side of the Tiadich, some kilometers from here. Those 87 young men, the warriors, the bandits, the combatants, accepted that we discuss. We have a discussion. So they tasked me to get the Marakwet side, so I did it. And even they gave their names, that we want this guy and this guy and this guy for us to have ceasefire. So they wrote their names, I went to the other side, I also talked to them, they agreed, and we went to Jeff Table for 4 days, and they agreed, ceasefire. Since then, we have had several meetings, and I want to thank the World Vision Nimara, the Finn Church Aid, the Catholic Church and Catholic Churches Department of Eldoret, because they facilitated those activities. After that, we went to local meetings along between the borders, Marakwet and Vokot. And up to today, I want to thank God for the ceasefire that we have.
In this valley of enchantment, the potential for transformation is palpable. As hope aligns with action, as communities unite, a brighter, more harmonious tomorrow emerges.
As they say, it's an African proverb that says, when it rains, it does not pour on one roof alone. So when it rains, it does not pour on one roof alone. And so I think that is the treasure we have here. The ability to pull together Kenyans from all corners to say, okay, let's share the little that we know, let's share the little that we have. And I think through that, we will have such a big downpour of good tidings across these neighborhoods. And for that, I have the confidence that we will not only be able to support, but along the way, we will also be able to pass on that baton so that these people can continue with the enabled environment and be able to pursue that picture of success that has been demonstrated.
This is the story of empathy, resilience, and hope. A narrative of a valley finding its way back to peace, prosperity, and unity.
Most of the opportunities in this region are not tapped. Anything you try to do is an opportunity. The young people, you could see them looking up to us, And when we were doing the circuit and then ended up, in Chesongoch and spent the night there, and you could see the people. This is a place where those guys who do the bundu, the bundu rovers, they should come here. It is a place they can enjoy roving with their big vehicles and give their roving, a course. And we invite them, the national government is willing to offer every type of security as people start exploring the opportunities and partnering with the county government.
It's a story where the young men are moving from being christened as bandits to choosing peace. Enabled, they are yearning to go back to the place of value. In the heart of Kerio Valley, as the sun sets on the past, it rises on the potential of tomorrow, where the psycho-violence is replaced by echoes of transformation. This is a story we want you to be part of creating. To a mind transformation agenda through evangelism, prayers, and spiritual support programs, sparring rays of hope for new beginnings and reconciliation in Kerio Valley.